What's going on, everyone? Charlie here. We're going to take a look at these old Ethernet cables plugged into this really old computer. Just kidding. We're going to look at connections using the crypto correlations that I have just discovered in the volume history based off of historical data. So, as you all know, we are building a model. Hi-Ho Silver, myself, and Tall Frenchie. The idea is to pull data from specific dates that are related to short interest receipt dates. Now, why is this? Because if you look, before March 31st, we hit every single short interest receipt date. In other words, we had a nice run, being the 29th of January. Trading was halted that day, but the 12th of February, we had a nice pop, and then the 26th of February was the following receipt date. And it's interesting to see the data surrounding these dates because a lot of weird shit's going on. So the point is to get it all in a line and try to correlate it to see if there's any correlation whatsoever. So basically, any short interest receipt dates and any significant days for GameStop and AMC as far as price movement. Then, using these dates, we're going to drill down onto each individual data set, those being the high of Bitcoin on each date, the volume of Bitcoin on each date, the high of Dogecoin on each date, and the volume of Dogecoin on each date. We're going to have the short interest for GameStop and AMC on each date, the short interest percent change from the previous report on each date, days to cover. We're also going to include in a separate data set for repos. We're going to include GCF repo transaction volume, overnight and open, GCF repo transaction volume greater than 30 days, GCF repo collateral types being federal agency, GSC, and treasury. And then we're also going to do the delivery versus payment transaction volume and collateral types as well, both of those data sets being from the FICC. So those will be a separate table in and of itself. Then we have from the Fed, we have the tri-party repo volume greater than 30 days, tri-party repo volume overnight and open, tri-party repo volume collateral types, and then we're also going to have the debt, corporate debt, treasury, federal agency, GSC, and other collateral types as well. Then for AMC and GME, we're going to have short interest in millions of shares, short interest percent change, put call ratio volume, put call ratio open interest, closing price, total volume for the day, off exchange short volume, on exchange short volume, days to cover, FTDs outstanding, OCC share lending data, fails to receive outstanding, all for those days. We're also going to be measuring Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and other popular cryptos on each specific date as well. And once we input all the data, which we have started to do, I've shown some of you this already, we can start to see correlations using a little bit of math and graphing, basically seeing correlations like this one here. Volume for Bitcoin and field repo amount appear highly dependent on one another. Helps identify correlations in the data or dependencies, such as field days to cover, appears highly determined by field dark pool percent short. Now, of course, this is going to require further investigation, but interesting to see that the model starts making correlations right off the bat. So the most interesting shit that I've seen is both of these dates right here are short interest receipt dates, right? For the short interest reporting as far as AMC and GME. So whatever shares are left out there, they're supposed to be bought that day, or actually, in theory, 2 days before. But it seems to be happening on the day of. So look at this. Look at that. This is volume of Dogecoin in billions. Look what happens the next day. It goes up to 25.4 billion volume, and the price goes up by 800%. Same thing for Bitcoin. It has a slight bump, like basically almost doubles itself in volume, but it goes down in price between the 15th and the 29th. Now, take a look at Bitcoin in February. So on the 25th, it had 55 billion volume. And then on the 26th, it had 350 billion volume. And then the following day fell right back down to low volume. So it's interesting to me to see these surges in volume show up on these short receipt dates. So just want to point that out. this is a work in progress, and this will be continued. We also had another Dogecoin bounce right here, and in April, like on April 15th, 69. But yeah, interesting shit. Yep. We're gonna put it all together, and hopefully it's gonna be mind blowing.